Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid South Wrestling Review Series for October 13th, 1984. We are quickly approaching the end of 84. Might even get there today, depending on my schedule. Rock and Roll Express versus Owens and Ellis is here, and obviously, the Rock and Roll Express returning means the return of the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express feud eventually. It's not immediate, although it is sooner than later. And, that's there. Also, some new faces along the way and different challengers through for different reasons. Um, Certainly, we get some really interesting stuff, especially at the end of '84 here. We've got a lot of differences in the nature of Mid South going into 1985. We're almost to 85. Of course, the Rock and Roll Express returning. I think they went back to Crockett for a bit in '84. I could be wrong with that. Bad Bob Owens and Ellis is here, and again, Ricky Morton with a series of arm drags. Really basic stuff, nothing to worth writing home about. Big back body drop though by Ricky Morton, and Morton manages to kind of duck out a little bit. The deep arm drag by Morton. Morton tags off to Gibson. Gibson with a body slam. Gibson holding his man wide open. And then we see Ricky Morton with, in fact, a shot or two. Irish whip by Morton. Morton with the hip toss through, and real basic stuff there. Morton kind of with the down, and then I believe they hit the double drop kick for the victory. Actually, no, um, hip toss and a tag off to Gibson. Gibson comes in, and they do hit the double drop kick. Although I wouldn't necessarily call that one a double drop kick, as Morton hits and Gibson almost doesn't with the drop kick when watching the match itself. Butch Reed discusses facing Master G, wants to eliminate Master G from Mid South. That's a pretty big thing. Speaking of Master G, he faces off against a relative newcomer. I think Jake Roberts has been here once before. I know he becomes a major talent in the area now. And for about I don't know, year and a quarter maybe, till sometime in '86. Jake is here. It might even be closer to 2 years. Anyway, short elbows by Jake in the corner. Jake walks up the second rope, comes back, gets body slammed by Master G. The Master G experiment and experience, at least to me, is I wouldn't say dismal failure, but certainly a failure. Jake is off in the corner, less than happy with some of the things going on in his neck of the woods. Hard shot by Roberts. Roberts manages to catch a shot and does exactly that. Short knee lift by Jake. Nip up, which is rare at the time, by Master G. He does hit a head scissors. Probably the most athletic I've seen out of Master G. The character doesn't fit for me. Roll up by uh, Master G and doesn't get all he wants out of Jake, but ends up getting a victory. Anyway, Jake taking the loss. A bit surprising, but maybe because he's new in the area, don't know anyway. Killer Khan and Magnum TA, I feel like they've met before. I feel like they met before in this general area, although covering nearly, 82, 83, 84, 3 full years. I'm sure they probably have, and I'm just forgetting something along the way. Magnum TA basically says he wants to get rid of Akbar, wants to get rid of Khan, gonna run Khan out of town indirectly. That's kind of the the variant of things here. Obviously, Magnum TA still a major force in the Mid South area, and Killer Khan been brought in by Skandor Akbar. Akbar back in the area, and that doesn't mean good things. Akbar was a major force in this area for a long, long time, and that nothing wrong with that per se, but certainly a challenge or two to be had there. Spins him around, does Magnum TA a bit more of a uh, power struggle than average. Obviously, Magnum known for his power, but Khan certainly has been a guy going up against a guy like Andre the Giant, going up against various other, I guess, attack level people, and we've seen Khan before in the area. A couple of kicks and some chokes by Khan, and needless to say, Magnum TA not doing so well here. Khan standing on the throat of his adversary, and we kind of get some bit of aggression out of the way. Double chop to the throat area by uh, by Magnum. Magnum with a drop kick under the chin, and ultimately some kicks and a couple of short shots by Killer Khan, and ultimately we see a backdrop, kind of, sort of, rocking him a little bit. Khan, though, can't afford to come in and get squashed immediately, so we see some backdrops and basic stuff. Magnum TA not backing down, but as the North American champion has to look strong enough. Short knee by Killer Khan, and again comes up with the knee. The referee even makes motion that the knee might not be legal because of where it landed or something of that general nature. Anyway, Khan probably giving TA the biggest challenge he's had in a while. Takedown and some chokes by Khan. Nerve hold by Khan as he continues to dominate the champion. Fans are behind him. Referee goes down. Akbar brought into the ring with the pull of the rope over the top rope deal, and Magnum nails Khan, hits a couple drop kicks. Khan goes to the outside to the floor. Killer Khan doesn't seem to want to get back in there all that quickly, in all honesty, and and Akbar is unhappy with that. Hacksaw Duggan against Jack Victory. Victory, who I believe started in World Class and comes here to get more seasoning. I don't know how long he's here. I know he was here in 85, 86 era. I don't know if he starts here and stays for a while. I don't know because I don't know the area. Jim Duggan very proud of himself, holding on to his own football helmet, kind of putting a challenge out to Dr. Death Steve Williams. And Williams and Duggan, both football players. Duggan making fun of Williams, I guess, USFL, as Duggan was with the NFL, and there's issues there. Duggan kind of dominating Jack Victory a little bit, and Duggan stomping around, kind of getting, I wouldn't say overly aggressive, but aggressive nonetheless. Body slams and then holds on to the chin lock, cranking up on it. Duggan really kind of going through the motions, literally and figuratively. Irish whip by Duggan. Duggan sends the man into the ropes and hits a clothesline there. Hits the shoulder tackle, 1, 2, 3, and off we go. We then move to Adrian Street discussing his victory last week. He basically says he knows that he's a mind game, and he also knows he's a beautiful person. That being part of the Mid-South thing really doesn't necessarily fit with what I imagine Mid-South to be, but they do it anyway. Dale Veasley is here, and he's facing Terry Taylor. Of course, Taylor losing to the Adrian Street not too long ago, and that had to be an interesting bit of an angle. Arm drags, arm bars, and the like, float over by Taylor. Taylor with the arm wringer and goes at it, and ultimately shoots the half over the shoulder. Goes Taylor with his opponent, and then kind of see hooks the arm up a little bit. Manages to do everything he can. Hard shots by the Veasley, and ultimately hits quite a number of shots on Taylor, actually. Irish whip, and hits the short knee. Taylor comes back with a couple of shots right under the chin. Irish whip, ducks the leapfrog, hits the flying forearm, and away we go. Adams and Horton, Chris Adams that is, versus the Midnight Express. Odd that they give Horton a guy who is, I don't know, non-sequential actually in the grand scheme of the area, a match with the tag team champions. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But obviously, Cornette's still wearing the mask, which is a character that doesn't work. Dr. Death Steve Williams basically says he wants his hands on Duggan, says he's going to lay Duggan out once and for all. Hercules is here and is bodyguarding still for Jim Cornette as I grab my phone and we continue in 2 shakes of Lamb's Tail. And again, in so much that, a guy like Chris Adams, who I believe does end up with a good run in Mid-South, 86, 87, something like that, does become a major force. But here, a less than 5 minute match, is kind of there. And obviously Bobby Eaton managing to be a feeder for the team and all of that. Kicks there by to the back of the leg by Adams. Adams doing everything he can, kind of keeping Bobby down, but giving him a partner of non-consequence doesn't really make sense. Like a guy like Horton, who really, when you bring a guy like Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey in, and you have a good match with them, and then you don't have a partner to back you up, it looks weird. Slingshot into the corner does look does look very good, and was well sold by Bobby Eaton. Eaton always, though, manages to sell really well. When Horton comes in, it's a much different cadence of match, though. Eaton over the top and kind of through the legs and back suplex by Condrey. Condrey with a couple of shots and kicks there. The Midnight Express dominant throughout and continue to be the dominant team they have been throughout Mid-South, which is good for business, at least I believe. Kick to the back of the legs, several kicks actually by the nature of everything there. And again, you kind of do see things break down. A guy like a Dennis Condrey managing to get the back the knee to the midsection and all of that, everything going along with that being what it is, hard shots and shot to the top of the head of the atmosphere. And then we go to the original finish that the Midnight Express used. They get the victory here. Dr. Death responding to Jim Duggan's challenge. Basically, Dr. Death says that Jim Duggan isn't a real football player. He's a better football player, and it all goes back to collegiate athletics. So we've got the battle of Doc versus Duggan upcoming in the weeks to come. We'll be back with more of October right here on the Mid-South Review series.